Good evening, my crafting little monsters. How's everybody doing today? I hope everybody is doing fabulous. Today we are going to make these Krispy Kreme donut cards. Aren't these cute? I know. I thought they were really cute too. So this is the card. The inside says everything is better with sprinkles. I just stamped a little image here and then the sentiment in the middle, and then I made what I believe looks like a Krispy Kreme box. I mean, we're not gonna nail it exactly the same, but you know, people get the gist. Then I had this printed and I made the little donuts inside. I used stickles and what is that called? Oh my god. I just spaced it, but it'll come to me right now. So anyway, I did the donuts and I put a little bit of paper so it just looks like a donut box. So, without wasting any more time, let's get started. I did all these 4 colors. I'm going to show you right now how I got this effect, how we do this card, how we make a little box, everything. So this is going to be kind of a long tutorial, guys. So, let's get started. We're gonna leave one of these right here. Hopefully you could see it. And you cannot see it, so we'll put that there. Right here in the corner. Right there. Okay, so what we're going to need is a card base. And so I'm not gonna go over the card base. I'm not gonna go over the die cutting part because I'm pretty sure a lot of you are pretty advanced crafters. I will do other tutorials on die cutting, and I will do tutorials on how to begin card base learning how to do card bases and stuff. The card base would be this back part. Also stamped right there, hey, I made this for you. This is from a May stamp that I get. I'm part of a club and I get stamps every month. She makes amazing stamps, guys. I will be putting her link in the video, so go ahead. So anyway, the card base, what I did was I just got a regular 8.5 by 11 sheet paper, and I use 110 pounds because the thicker the card base, the more durable the card is going to be, and then that way you really don't have to stack so many mats on top of it just to make it a sturdy card. With that being said, what I did was I just cut it in half. So this one was cut in 5.5 because I wanted to do 2 card bases. This is it's going to be going this way. So then I went ahead and I scored it at 4.25. So scoring it at 4.25 and cutting it at 5.5, you get 2 of these. So you'll get 2 of these. Then what I did was I just got a piece of cardstock also, and I will show you what I used. I don't know the measurements on the card because it was just paper scraps. Sorry, I keep moving the camera. But anyway, so I don't know the actual measurements on the actual card, the cardstock, because what I did was I just got paper scraps and I used my dies to cut out that square. So we use a Spellbinders card creator, and I believe this is number 9. This is Matting Basics B, because they have several different ones which are different sizes and whatnot. So this is the one that I used. Okay, and I used the second one. If you're gonna count from the outside in, it's actually the second one. So I used, So I used this one, okay? And what I did was I cut 2 squares. So that's where I got these ones. I cut 2 of them, okay? Then once I did that and I had both of these squares, what I did was I grabbed my Lawn Fawn, flipped the flap, and I used the larger one, the larger die on this set. And I cut out the window here, which is going to be making it the little donut box. Now I've seen a lot of people doing this, and I don't know who was the first one to come up with this idea, so this is not my idea. I've actually seen this idea several times from several different crafters, and I don't know who to give the credit for, but I can tell you that I am the first one that's making a Krispy Kreme donut. Yay! And soon you guys will too. So let's go ahead and put these away, and I'm going to show you how I put the card together. Okay, so what I did first was I wanted to go ahead and stamp the top of the box. You don't have to worry about the bottom of the box because nobody's really going to look at that or even see that. This is going to be glued onto your card base. This card is really simple, guys, by the way. So what you're going to do is you're going to stamp this with polka dots. And what I did was I used this stamp from Joann's Fabric is where I purchased this one. So I used this little dot one, and it's not really that big to where it's going to cover the whole sheet. So you're going to have to kind of like really, I don't know, kind of try to figure it out. I personally don't really like wooden block stamps because of that, because it's so hard to see where to continue stamping without overlapping and making it look horrible. Which on this case, there was a little gap right here, and on some of them, I did make it pretty close. Excuse me, and they don't match up perfectly. So that's the hard part about this. So that's why I tell you guys, just use whatever it is that you have. If you guys have a stamp that is polka dots and is out of the polymer stamp or whatever stamp that is clear, and you're able to stamp that, that would work even better because you're able to see where the stamp is being stamped at. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and grab a piece of paper because I don't want to ink my table. And then I'm going to grab some red pigment ink. This is Scarlet and this is Color Box. So I'm going to grab some of this. Whoa. And I'm going to go ahead and ink this up. Now this stamp that I'm using is kind of like a distress polka dots. None of the polka dots are perfectly round. They're, I don't know, they have like a little distressed look. So I'm not really too worried of it being perfect because my stamp is already kind of the distressed look. So there's nothing I could do about that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and stamp it all the way to the edge. Okay, put a little bit pressure there. Give it a few seconds so that the ink will transfer onto your cardstock. And there you go. You have some polka dots. So then we're going to go ahead and re-ink this all over again. And we're going to do that again to the other side of this little box that we're making. And hopefully, guys, hopefully I'll kind of line this up. It's kind of hard to see because I have to stand up over and look. But I can't because the camera is there. So we're going to go ahead and let that ink transfer a little bit. And it didn't come out that perfect. But you guys already know that I'm not really a kind of perfect kind of guy. So I like to just craft and make it look homemade. It wasn't made by a computer or machine, so homemade. So then what I do, once this is stamped, I kind of like fold this up a little bit just to start training it to be able to open up the flaps. And then I grabbed the bottom part. I grabbed my dimensions. And I told you guys that I buy these from the dollar store. And what I do is I'll cut these in three little thin kind of strips is what I'm creating. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab my tweezers and then I'm putting these just on the edges. I'm not really too worried about putting it in the center and all that because these are not really that high of dimensions. It's just to give it a little bit of a lift, so it doesn't look like it's flushed on with your card base. That's all it's really doing. Okay, and then so after we did that, sorry, let's put this guy away. So after we do that, then what we're gonna do is we're gonna take off these the little backings on this. And then we're gonna go ahead and line up the top to the best that we can. Just remember, these are dimensions, so once you put it down, that's it, guys. There is no moving it, so make sure that you put it straight. And then there you go. So you just made a little box, sort of. Okay, then what I did was I went ahead and I got some parchment paper. I'm a baker, so I have lots of it. So I got some parchment paper, and then I cut this down to fit inside here. And just to give it like a little bit more texture, I kind of crumbled it up a little bit. Like this. And then let me get my tape runner. I totally forgot that. So then I got my runner adhesive, and I'm gonna go ahead and put some down just to hold this in. Okay, kind of like eyeball this. I'm not gonna be really too perfect about that. I just want it to be evenly on both sides. When I cut this little sheet of paper, let me see how much I cut. This was exactly, whoa. So this is cut down to 3 inches by, so it's 3 inches by 5.5 is what I did. And then I folded it, but without creasing it. I kind of held it like this. Then I got my paper cutters, my scissors, and then I cut it in an angle. And I did that to both sides so that it kind of gave that little point at the end, okay? So then we're gonna do that. We're gonna keep that like that. Now, what I also did was, I went to my local office supply store, which over here was Office Max, and I had them copy the Krispy Kreme logo. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna need one of these. They'll actually print it out. I had them do a sheet, so the sheet was of 30 of them. I did 20 cards, and then today we're doing one with you guys. So all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just fussy cut this. Let's go ahead and do this really, really quick. I'm not gonna worry too much about being perfect about that because I'm cutting right on the line, so you're not really gonna see that. Okay, let's throw this away. So then we got our little logo on there. And then we're gonna get my old reliable tacky glue. It was right in front of me. I thought it was behind me. We're gonna put up a little bit of adhesive. I don't really like to put up a lot because then your paper will get wonky. Close this down, and then you're just gonna kind of eyeball it. You just kind of want it to be kind of centered, so just eyeball it. Whoa, crazy little guy. He's trying to come back with me. So then we're just gonna put a little pressure there till it holds, and there's your little Krispy Kreme box. Isn't that cute? I know, I know. So then let's hurry up because we got a lot to do, guys. So then what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab our card base. And we're gonna do that distress look. So I'm gonna get my rubber mat because this is what I usually use these distress oxides with. So we are going to use on this one, we're going to use wilted violet. So that's what we're gonna use on that one. I'm gonna get my color blender, pick that up, okay? And I'm going to need my water and rag. Okay, so we're gonna need something with water. So here's my little spray and my rag. So all I did was I just grabbed some ink. Sorry, I keep forgetting that I can't hit the table because that moves my camera. So grab some ink, and then all I do is just go to the edge and then just start picking up some of that ink onto my actual paper. Depending on how much I want this to kind of go to the center. And you want to kind of work this really good because you want it to blend in. I want it to be pretty dark, so I'm really going pretty heavy on this. This card is going to be for my best friend. It's his birthday this weekend, so I'm going to make him this little donut card. So notice that I'm not really worried about the middle part of this card because nobody's going to see it. The card is going to be covered by the little box, and I know a lot of people are probably looking at me and like, he just totally blended that on there totally wrong. But it's okay, guys, because I wanted to have that distressed kind of look. And then all I did, because I don't have one of those little fancy little spraying things, so all I did was I just grabbed some water, I sprayed it on my fingers, and then I flicked it on there. Spray it on there, flick it. Right? So then once it's all flicked on there, then I went ahead and I grabbed my towel that I use for painting. As you can tell, it has billions of colors on it. And then I picked that up and voila. Isn't that freaking gorgeous, guys? I know, I love this. I love how these inks do that. So there we go. We have the base for it. As you guys notice, I didn't use any matting on top of this. I just used it the way it was and I just left it like that. So now next what we're gonna do, because we already have our card base and we have our little donut box that's gonna go in the front, let's put this on the side and let's work on our little donuts to go inside of our card. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and grab some mixed media paper. I love to use a Canson. So this is the one that I use, and I usually get it at Hobby Lobbies. I've also found this at Walmart. So this is the one that I use. Okay. So all we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and grab a sheet. Okay. Let's grab a sheet of this. I like to take this off. I don't know why, it just really bugs me, guys. It's just my OCD, I guess. So then I'm going to cut this in half. So I'll be right back. Give me 1 second. So I went ahead and cut it because I didn't want it to be too big, especially because we're gonna go ahead and put this inside our Cricut machine as well to cut out the little donuts. So what I'm going to do, because this is basically what we're doing, guys. We're cutting out these little guys, right? So in this video, because we already have those guys. In this video, what I'm going to do is I'm gonna go ahead and show you how to stamp and color two more. So I use my Lawn Fawn Donut Worry stamp coordinating die. Okay, that's what we're gonna use today. So I'm gonna go ahead and take out this little stamp, pick it up with my block. Okay, and then I'm gonna use VersaFine. Whoa, can't open it. The VersaFine ink. We're gonna go ahead and ink that up really, really, really good, because this is that you got one time. I'm not using a stamping tool, so you better make that one stamp count. Better be good, guys. So what I do is I like to put it on the edge because we are going to die cut that. So not to worry. Give it a second to let the ink transfer onto your cardstock. Okay. We're gonna go ahead and ink this up one more time. And stamp that. And there you go. And so I always have my little wipies, my baby wipes off hand, and that's what I always use. You guys will always see me, this is what I use to clean my stamps. If it's gentle for a baby's bottom, then it's definitely gentle on your stamps. So go ahead, take that off your block and put him away because you no longer are going to need him. But you will keep him close because you're going to need him for the stamps. Then what I did was I went ahead and I used my Tombow dual brush. Sorry, I couldn't even talk. I used a bright palette and I used a portrait palette. So what, no wait, I totally lie. I did not use a portrait one. I used the landscape one. So these are the two that I use for the donuts. Landscape palette and the bright one. So what we're gonna do, since we already have orange, purple, pink, and brown, which is my chocolate supposedly, we're gonna go ahead and use the yellow because I want a sort of a lemon sort of donut. And I'm not the best on coloring, so I think we kind of went over this on the other videos. So all I'm gonna do is I'm going to go ahead and get the yellow. And I just color the edge. And then I pick up the colorless blender and I work that color into the middle. So all it's doing is it's giving it like a little dimension. And always clean this off, guys. So I get a piece of paper, you guys can't see this, but what I'm doing is I'm getting this and I'm coloring it, getting that ink off of this to clean this so it's clean. Then what I do is, oh, Jesse did lie. I did use this portrait palette. I knew I used this for one. What I did was I grabbed, I believe, the brown and the colorless blender off of this one. I used, this one is 977. So this is the saddle brown and the colorless blender on this one. I could put these away because I'm no longer going to use these. I just wanted that bright yellow for that donut. Then we're going to grab this one. And what I did was I just barely went to the edge. My coloring sucks, guys. I'm telling you that right now. So I just went to the edge. And on this one, I didn't really use a colorless blender. I just did in the little all I did was I just did it in the little points. I just went over it, picked it up, and put it in those little point areas where I missed. Okay, and I did that to both. On some of them, I made them a little bit darker because I wanted it to look more like a little chocolate donut versus just a regular little brown donut, but you guys could color them any way you want. I know there's some of you guys are amazing at using Copic markers and using watercolor markers, and you guys do amazing work on them. So go ahead, guys, have at it. This is just the way I color it because, first of all, I'm colorblind, so it's hard for me to color anyway. And this is why I have this in the back, because this tells me the colors and I go by numbers. So that's how I know that I just colored that brown and I colored the other one yellow. So on this one, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and use the light sand, so 990 on this one, and the colorless blender, which is this one and this one. So all I did was I went ahead and went to the edge. Because this is the one that we're gonna go ahead and put some glossy accent on. That was what I couldn't remember to say earlier, guys. Was the glossy accent. Just get your color blender and blend that into the middle so it could be light. Yeah, I couldn't remember what it was called, but it's glossy accent. So that's what we're gonna put onto this one and this one. This one I kind of made it look almost as if it was a little maple syrup one. And then this one is a chocolate one. Those two are just gonna be like a glaze. Okay. So then we're gonna go ahead and die cut those out with the coordinating die, and we will be right back. Okay, welcome back, my little crafting monsters. So what we did was we went ahead and we ran these through the die cut. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and stamp some of these with sprinkles. And we're gonna go ahead and get our donut worry stamp again. Get a little block. Get the sprinkles out. And then on this one, I'm gonna use different color. I'm not gonna use the black VersaFine ink because I don't want it to be black. So what we're gonna use is we're gonna use some Memento Rich Cocoa. We're gonna go ahead and stamp him up. And I want some little chocolate sprinkles on this little yellow guy. Give that a chance to transfer. Okay, and then we're gonna go ahead, ink this back up because I want two of them with sprinkles. And then I want to put it on this little pink one. Give it a second to transfer. So like I said, always have your wipes on hand. Wipe this down. Okay, so basically these are our little donuts that we're using, and those are the ones that we're gonna go ahead and use on the card. Put our little stamp set away. Now what we're going to do is we're gonna go ahead and add some dimensions on these. So as you can tell, remember I told you guys that whenever you guys mess up on paper, just turn it around and you will go ahead and use the other side. Well, that is basically what I did on one of these. So let's go ahead and get some dimensions. Okay, and if you need to cut some more, go ahead and cut them. I like to cut them in 3 because you don't need them that thick. So, because what I do is I put 2 and 2 on each donut. I always like having some extras, so. Okay. So I put 2 dimensions on each donut is basically what I'm doing. Those guys are ready. Two of them came out at the same time on that. Okay, so once you have dimensions on your little donuts, your actual donuts are ready. They're just gonna go ahead, put these aside, and we're gonna wait for us to go ahead and finish with the rest of the steps so that we can put those into the donut box and then we can go ahead and finish. So then what we're gonna do now is we're gonna go ahead and stamp our sentiment in the inside. And what I did was I used this stamp set that I had purchased at Michael's. I don't know what the name of this stamp set is, but it's also a donut one. This is not a lawn fawn one, this is a different one. And what I did was I used one of the sentiments from here. So I used Everything is Better with Sprinkles. So we're gonna go ahead and take that one out. Let's go ahead and take that out. We'll pick that up with my block. I like using the larger one so I have more of a control of it. And then what I like to do, because I always align the stamp up right in the middle, I could use this as a guide. So I'll kind of close this down a little. I'll use this kind of like a guide to stamp me right in the middle, and that's what I'm gonna do. Because I'm not using a stamping tool. My stamping tool is in the drawer right now and I just didn't get it, and I'm trying to make this kind of quick. So let's ink this up really, really, really good. And I got a lot of ink on the side. I'm hoping I got more ink on my stamp than I did on the block. I'm gonna clean that up because I don't want a chance for that to go get onto my card base. So then I close this down, use this in the middle, and presto. I just eyeball it, guys. So if it's not perfect, I don't ever do perfect. Close to perfect is good. So we stamped our sentiment, clean off our little stamp thing. And my OCD doesn't ever let me just leave it like that. I have to put this away, guys. So put my stamp away. And then what we're gonna do now, because we already stamped the inside, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and glue this little guy onto our card base. So I just put a little bit of glue, mostly on the corners and on the edges is where I really, really want to get. See? And then, whoa. What I did was, I kind of wanted it a little bit on the tilted side, like that. See? There you go, guys. Isn't that back card base amazing? I just love that oxide ink. So then all we're gonna do now, we're gonna go ahead and grab each one of these donuts. Take off the backing. Put this one in the corner so you guys can see what I'm doing. Take this one. I forgot to do the face on this little guy. But you should do that before you put on the dimensions, because then you'll have more of a chance of getting a perfect little stamp. I won't try to do it now that it's on a dimension because it's probably not going to come out. But this is what I forgot to do, guys. I forgot to stamp the little smiley face on the maple one. So that one's not going to have one. But that's not the end of the world, guys, because this is still a cute donut box, card, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so then we're going to take off the dimensions. Well, these are just not cooperating. I think I'm pinching this a little too hard, that's why. Okay, so then once we have our little donuts where we want them, because this is gonna have to dry for at least a few hours so that you can get this little look. What I did was, I grabbed my box of stickles. These are my stickles. And I also grabbed my other box of, these are all glitters and clear ones. So I grabbed this one and I grabbed my glossy accents. If I could just find it. It's right here, the glossy accent. And on this one, on these ones, what I want to do is we'll use red for, we'll use red for the orange. We'll use like a turquoise for the purple. And that's it. That's all we need. So what we're gonna do is, because I like working away from the projects, we're gonna work on this one first. So on this little one, what I did was I grabbed the red stickles, and then we're gonna go ahead and put like a little, kind of like if it was a little strawberry jam or jelly. Like that. Okay, so we go ahead and use that, and then on the chocolate, I want it to be kind of like, you know, kind of like a glossy chocolate. And so I'm just gonna use this liquid accents on here. Make sure you get really, really good in there. Okay. Okay. I like to clean off the edge because since I used watercolor markers, that watercolor, any liquid that you put on it is gonna basically pick it up. So you gotta be really careful on that, guys. So then what we're gonna do is we're gonna use some glossy accents for the little maple syrup one. I'm so sad that I forgot to put a face on this one, guys. But like I said, it's still adorable. You guys don't forget to put a face on it. Put a face on the donut. Looks cute. Get our little turquoise stickles. And all these stickles, little things, I bought them at Hobby Lobbies. I bought them at Michael's. I bought them at Joann's Fabrics. Anywhere I find them, I buy them. That I could use a coupon. Voila. And there are your donuts. And then that's all I did to this card. I wanted the main focus to be basically on the donuts outside. I didn't want no focus to be on anything else. So if you guys notice, I didn't put anything else on the card. No sentiments, no nothing but the Krispy Kreme logo. That's all I used on these cards. And as you can tell, that liquid accents, the glossy accents, basically really give it this glossy look. And then you get the little glitter from the swirls. And so there you go, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video because I enjoyed making it for you guys. I want to see all of your guys' creations. Leave me a comment on the comment box. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the like button. Go ahead and follow us on Instagram too, Paper to Masterpiece. And have a nice evening, my crafty little monsters.